never thought a single sound could pull me out of the kind of darkness I was sinking into. But that night, the soft jingle of a tiny collar in the distance felt louder than thunder. If you've ever been in a place where everything feels heavy, where even breathing seems like work, you'll understand why that sound hit me the way it did. I truly believed I was alone, emotionally, mentally, in every possible way, until my cat found me. And what happened after that changed the entire direction of my life. My name is Emily, and the cat I'm talking about is a gray and white tabby named Milo. He isn't a special breed cat, or the kind you see in commercials. He's just an ordinary house cat with big green eyes, a quirky personality, and a habit of inserting himself into every part of my day. But on that night, when everything around me felt pitch black, he became something more. He became my anchor, my reminder that I still mattered, and my sign that I wasn't as alone as I thought. It had been a long week, a long month, really. I felt like I was drowning in responsibilities, deadlines, expectations, things piling up faster than I could handle. People kept saying, "Just take a break," or "You're strong, you'll get through this." But none of it helped. Sometimes strength doesn't come from pushing through. Sometimes it comes from someone noticing how quiet you've become. And no one noticed. No one except Milo. That day, I came home later than usual. I remember shutting the apartment door behind me and feeling like the whole world was pressing against my shoulders. Everything felt heavy. My coat, my bag, even the air in the room. I didn't turn on any lights. I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want anything to see me. I just walked into the living room, dropped to the floor beside the couch, and pulled my knees close. Normally Milo greets me at the door, weaving around my legs, meowing dramatically like I've been gone for weeks. But I didn't hear him. Maybe he'd given up after all the nights I'd come home quiet and withdrawn. Or maybe I was too lost in my own head to notice him. Minutes passed. Or maybe it was hours. I honestly couldn't tell. I just sat there in the dark, letting everything weigh on me. I wasn't crying. I wasn't speaking. I wasn't even moving. I was stuck in this numb, silent space, disconnected from everything around me. Then, I heard it. A tiny jingle. So soft I almost thought I imagined it. Then another. And another. Slow. Hesitant, but getting closer. I didn't move. I didn't call his name. But Milo knew exactly where I was, even in total darkness. He nudged his head against my arm first, very gently, almost like he was asking for permission to be near me. When I didn't react, he did it again, firmer this time, then climbed right into my lap, turning his whole warm body against me. It broke through the numbness. Not completely, but enough to make me feel something again. I lifted my hand slowly and rested it on his back. His fur was soft, warm, familiar. He didn't purr at first. He just stayed still, like he was waiting for me. And when I finally let out this tiny, shaky breath, that's when he started purring. Loudly, deeply. Like he'd been holding it back until he was sure I needed it. That's the thing about cats. People say they're distant, or that they don't understand emotions. But Milo understood something in me that even I didn't know how to express. I whispered, "Hey, buddy." My voice barely a sound. It felt strange to speak after being quiet for so long. Milo lifted his head, bumped it gently against my chin, and then curled even tighter against me. Something inside me cracked open just a little, not in a bad way, in a relieving way. Like a window opening after the air has been stale for too long. I stayed like that for a while, just holding him, letting his warmth settle into me, letting his presence fill the silence that had felt so suffocating before. The room was still dark, but it didn't feel as overwhelming anymore. Not with Milo there. A bit later, I thought he might hop off and wander away, but he didn't. Instead, He stood up in my lap, turned toward the hallway, and meowed, loudly, urgently. Then he looked back at me, meowed again, and took a few steps away before turning around to see if I was following. I blinked, confused. "What is it?" I whispered. But he kept insisting, walking a little farther, then stopping, looking back at me, tail twitching. It wasn't unusual for him to lead me places, sometimes to his food bowl, sometimes to a toy he wanted me to throw. But this felt different. There was something purposeful in the way he moved, something almost protective. Reluctantly, I pushed myself up from the floor. My legs felt stiff, my body heavy, but Milo waited patiently, his eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. I followed him down the hallway, past the bathroom, until he stopped outside my bedroom door. The door was slightly cracked open, just enough to let in a thin slice of moonlight from the window. Milo pushed his paw inside and nudged it wider, then walked in like he expected me to do the same. I stepped inside. The room looked so familiar but felt strangely foreign, like I'd been avoiding it without realizing it. The bed was unmade, clothes were scattered around, and the dim glow from the window traced soft outlines across everything. Milo jumped onto the bed and sat right in the middle, staring at me. "What, baby?" I whispered, still unsure. He tilted his head. Then he let out a soft, rumbling meow, one of those sounds cats make when they want you to understand something deeper, something emotional rather than practical. And that's when I realized what he was trying to do. He wasn't leading me to food or toys. He was leading me to rest, to comfort, to a place where he knew I felt safe. My chest tightened with emotion I hadn't felt in weeks. I sat down on the edge of the bed, and Milo immediately walked over, pushing his head into my hand so I'd keep touching him. His purring grew louder, this steady, soothing vibration pulling me out of the fog I'd been sinking into. I lay down slowly, not even meaning to, but exhaustion washed over me so hard I couldn't fight it. Milo curled right against my stomach, one paw resting lightly on my arm like he was holding me in place. And for the first time in a long time, I felt a flicker of peace. Not happiness, not relief, just peace. Enough to breathe again. I don't know how long we stayed like that, but eventually, my breathing evened out. Milo's presence, his warmth, his soft fur brushing against my hand, it grounded me. It kept me from drifting back into that dark, numb place. Every time I felt myself sinking, Milo shifted or nudged me gently, reminding me I wasn't alone. Hours passed. The moonlight moved across the room, and when I finally opened my eyes again, the sky outside had turned pale with early morning light. Milo was still there, still curled beside me, still watching over me. I reached out and stroked his head. "Thank you," I whispered. He blinked slowly, one of those cat "I love you" blinks, and nestled closer. That morning marked the beginning of everything changing. Not all at once, not magically, but steadily. Milo didn't fix my problems. He didn't erase my responsibilities or the things that had overwhelmed me. But he reminded me I wasn't invisible. I wasn't forgotten. And I wasn't as alone as I felt. And that small shift, that tiny reminder, it was enough to start climbing out of the darkness. But the most incredible part of this story, what truly showed me how deeply animals can sense what we hide, happened the next night. And it's something I'll never forget. That next evening, I still felt the heaviness lingering around me, like a shadow that didn't want to let go. But it wasn't as suffocating as before. Being able to breathe, even a little, mattered. Milo followed me around the apartment the entire day, never far, always watching. If I went to the kitchen to make tea, he sat by my feet. If I tried to fold laundry, he climbed into the warm piles like he was trying to force me to smile. If I sat on the couch, he curled against me so tightly that I wondered how such a small animal could be so determined to stay close. By the time night came, the apartment was quiet again. Too quiet. The kind that makes your thoughts grow louder. I kept the lights dim, mostly out of habit. But unlike the night before, I wasn't hiding from anything. I was just trying to find my balance again. Gently, slowly. Milo sat nearby, stretched out like a furry guardian, his tail flicking lazily across the carpet. I decided to take a shower before bed, hoping the warm water would wash away some of the tension in my shoulders. When I stepped out, the mirror was foggy, and the soft hum of the bathroom fan filled the room. For a moment I felt okay. Not perfect, not strong, just okay. And that was enough. But when I opened the bathroom door, something felt off. It took me a second to notice what it was. Milo wasn't waiting outside the door. Normally, he was always there, like clockwork, especially after the night we'd had. I looked down the hallway, expecting to see him sitting there, but the hallway was empty. "Milo?" I called softly. No answer. I tried not to panic. He was probably in the living room, sleeping on the couch or perched on the windowsill watching cars go by. But something in my chest tightened anyway. Maybe it was because he hadn't left my side all day. Maybe it was because his absence felt too sudden, too strange. I wrapped my towel tighter around me and walked down the hallway, calling his name again. "Milo, where are you, baby?" Still no answer. I checked the living room first. The couch was empty. The windowsill was empty. His toy basket was untouched. The apartment felt too still, too silent. My heart started to race. "Milo?" I called louder, stepping into the kitchen. Nothing. His food bowl was still full from earlier. His water bowl untouched. That wasn't like him at all. Milo never ignored food. He never ignored me calling his name. And after the night before, no way he'd wander off casually. A sense of dread crawled up my spine. I checked the bedroom next. The blankets were messy, but he wasn't curled up in them. I got down on my knees and lifted the bed skirt, hoping to see his eyes glowing back at me. He wasn't there. That's when the silence around me changed. It wasn't just quiet anymore. It was tense, heavy, like the air was warning me of something I couldn't see. I stood slowly and looked toward the far corner of the bedroom. The closet door was slightly open. I hadn't opened it. A cold shiver went through me. The closet was always closed. Always. I kept it shut to avoid Milo going inside and messing with my clothes or getting tangled in the hangers. And earlier that day, when I grabbed a sweater, I was absolutely sure I had closed it fully. "Milo?" My voice came out small. No answer. I stepped toward the closet. Every hair on my arm stood up. The room felt colder somehow, like the air around the closet was heavier than the rest of the apartment. I reached out, my fingers trembling, and nudged the door open. The hallway light barely reached inside, but I could see the outlines of jackets, shoes, and boxes stacked on the top shelf. I listened, straining to hear any sound. A rustle, a breath, a jingle. Nothing. I crouched down and lifted the row of hanging clothes slightly, checking underneath. Still nothing. My throat tightened. Where was he? Suddenly, a faint, distant sound echoed from somewhere deeper in the apartment. It wasn't a meow. It was a thump. Soft but sharp, like something falling or being pushed. I stood up fast, heart pounding against my ribs. I rushed out of the bedroom, the towel nearly slipping as I hurried down the hallway. Milo. Another thump, this time from the laundry room. I ran straight toward it, my pulse surging with panic. What if he was trapped somewhere? What if he'd knocked something over and hurt himself? The laundry room door was slightly cracked open, and a dim line of light spilled across the floor. I pushed the door wide, and there he was. Milo sat on top of the dryer, his back arched, his fur puffed up, his tail 3 times its normal size. His eyes were huge, reflecting the hallway light, fixed intensely on the far corner of the room. "Milo? Oh my God, are you okay?" I gasped, taking a step inside. He didn't look at me. He didn't acknowledge my voice. He didn't blink. He just stared, completely focused at that corner, the one behind the laundry basket. The air in the room felt weird again, thick, heavy, like the moment before a storm breaks. I swallowed hard and turned slowly toward the corner Milo was staring at, expecting, I don't even know what. Maybe a bug. Maybe a shadow. But the room looked completely normal. "Milo, baby, what's wrong?" I whispered. He stayed tense, frozen, his gaze locked onto something I clearly couldn't see. I took a step closer. The dryer creaked under him as he shifted, and he made a sound I'd never heard from him before. A deep, low growl. Not aggressive, not angry, protective. As if he was placing himself between me and something he believed was a threat. "Milo," I whispered again, my voice shaking. "It's just us. It's okay." But he growled again, louder this time, his ears flattening. I felt my skin prickle. I knew cats sensed things humans didn't. Sounds, vibrations, even emotional changes. But this felt different. It felt intentional. Like Milo wasn't reacting to a normal noise or movement. He was reacting to something that shouldn't have been there. Then, out of nowhere, he leapt from the dryer straight into my arms, claws carefully sheathed, like he didn't want to hurt me. Just hold on to me. His whole body trembled. He pushed his face against my chest so hard it nearly forced the breath out of me. I wrapped my arms around him, confused and scared. Hey, what happened? What's wrong?" His heart was pounding wildly. He kept pushing himself against me, as if trying to guide me backward, out of the room. And that's when I realized something else. The air inside the laundry room felt colder than the rest of the apartment. Much colder, like someone had opened a window, but all windows were closed and locked. Milo squirmed in my arms, urging me toward the hallway. I stepped back, holding him tightly, and the moment we crossed the threshold, he stopped trembling. Completely. His body relaxed, his breathing slowed, and he finally looked up at me with wide eyes. "What was that?" I breathed. He blinked slowly, then turned his head and looked back toward the laundry room, ears flicking. But he didn't growl again. Instead, he pressed his forehead to my chin, the way he always did when he wanted to comfort me. I carried him into the living room and sat down on the couch, still wrapped in my towel, still shaking with confusion. Milo curled into my lap immediately and began grooming his paws like nothing had happened. But my mind was racing. Had something fallen? Had a sound scared him? Had he sensed something that I wasn't aware of? I didn't have the answers, but I knew one thing. Whatever he thought he was protecting me from, he took it seriously. For the rest of the night, Milo didn't let me out of his sight. He followed me everywhere, even sitting outside the bathroom door when I dried my hair, meowing impatiently if I took too long. When I finally got into bed, he curled on top of my chest, purring loudly. His eyes half closed but always flicking toward the hallway whenever the apartment creaked. Something had changed in him. But something had changed in me too. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel invisible. I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like my presence, or my absence, would go unnoticed. Milo had made that clear. He had shown me, in the simplest yet most powerful way, that someone cared, that someone was watching over me when I couldn't watch over myself. And that meant more than I could ever explain. Over the next few days, My routine slowly began to shift. I opened the blinds more. I cooked meals instead of skipping them. I started cleaning my apartment again, one small corner at a time. I took short walks outside just to breathe fresh air. And through all of it, Milo stayed close, like he was proud of every tiny step I took. One evening, I finally sat down with a journal and wrote, "I'm still here." It felt emotional, almost too honest. But I wrote it. And I know I wouldn't have if Milo hadn't found me in the dark that night. Sometimes healing doesn't start with a big moment or a dramatic change. Sometimes it starts with a soft jingle in the distance, a warm body curling into your lap, a tiny creature refusing to let you disappear into the quiet. Sometimes healing starts with a cat. And for me, it started with Milo. Thank you for listening to my story. It means more than you know. If this touched you in any way, please consider supporting the channel, subscribing, and sharing this video with someone who might need a reminder that they're not alone. Sometimes the smallest companions make the biggest difference. Thank you for staying until the end. And may you always feel the light, even in your darkest moments.